Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Defying All Odds podcast with my co-host,
Rafa, you already know.
And today we have a very special guest. We have a senior at Columbia College, Columbia basketball player, as well as a brand owner. Please welcome the very own Noah Robledo.
Appreciate y'all having me, man. Appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming. So, obviously, Noah, thanks for coming on. We're really looking forward to hearing your story, kind of hearing what you kind of have to offer. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of, your upbringing, that sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. So, born and raised Austin, Texas kid. Raised with both of my parents, two siblings, younger brother Jonah, older sister Emily, all super close. Grew up with each other, had a great childhood, very supportive parents. That gave us a life that, they never really had, sacrificed a lot, did a lot of things for us that, I know that cost them a lot, but, that's what parents are for. So,
Sure.
Had an amazing upbringing. My father is somebody who, instilled a lot of good principles within me. I've seen the way that he's grown as a man and the way that he's taken care of our family and got us out of certain situations when I was younger. So, my upbringing has been great. Taught me a lot about myself. Growing up in Texas too is a whole different animal.
I've never been to Texas. I heard it's real hot.
Yeah.
Bro, I just got back from being back home and it was like 110. Like crazy, bro.
I got some friends from Texas. If they're watching, what's up?
Yeah, man. But growing up in Central Texas, born and raised in Austin, Texas,
Awesome.
capital. So, that for me was a whole ordeal, being outside with all my boys. Honestly, we played basketball every single day. Like, that's the only thing I really remember is either that or just getting into just things that I wish I wouldn't have done when I was younger.
Hey, when you're young, you're stupid, right?
Yeah, man.
You get into some fun things.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, so we started in Austin, Texas, and then my dad, through the grace of God, moved us from our situation into an actual home. I was by the age of about 10. And then from there, I just had a pretty good childhood where I was able to go outside and not have to worry about the outside world, go play in my front yard. My parents were able, this is like the first time I could actually go out on my bikes and go ride around and come back by the street lights and things like that. So it was good, man.
That's good. That's dope. You mentioned you played basketball as a kid.
Yeah.
And now, as we mentioned, you are now on the basketball team here at Columbia University.
D1 athlete.
Yeah.
D1, let's not forget that too, right? That's a big accomplishment for sure.
Yeah.
But specifically, what got you into basketball?
So for my family and me, sports was something that was not really a thing that was within our family. Like football was there.
Yeah.
Basketball was around. My dad had played, but he was a hood legend. Like we're not gonna talk about that. Like he just wasn't. Yeah, he was just a street ball legend, bro.
I put him in the Hall of Fame, but they got me fucked up.
But for real, I basketball was always around, but I never really took it seriously until I was maybe in middle school, like around 7th, 8th grade is when got on the middle school team, and I was the tallest one, and I'd literally been playing outside my whole life prior to that, just playing with my cousins, going out and playing with my dad at the courts, or just having to sit there and watch everybody else play while I had to wait my turn. And then by the time, like I said, 8th grade, everything just took off. Everything just kind of got put into perspective as far as where basketball could take me. This is something I really wanted to pursue. I did track as well. I ran track. I was big. Like if I wasn't playing basketball, I'd be doing track too. For sure.
He's a runner.
For sure. For sure.
Okay.
And basketball was one of those things where I had an amazing friend, still my friend. So one of my brothers, his family has been a second family for me. I remember my parents weren't as fortunate to I never had like the Kobe's, I never had the KD's, the Lebrons growing up. And I remember one time my boys like, hey, we're gonna go out. They would always take us out to go get food. Like all the neighborhood kids, these people have the biggest heart. I love them to death.
That's dope.
They used to take all the neighborhood kids that were friends with their son, and we'd either go to pool parties or they'd take us out to go eat, and we go to Ross, bro, and find a pair of shoes or get one piece of something. So I remember I couldn't find anything in my size. So they're like, okay, we'll go take you to the sporting store. Took me to a sporting store and I saw a pair of LeBrons. I'm like, I want those. I want those. I remember looking at them and I'm like, nah, bro, I can't take them because if I take these back home, my mom's going to tear my ass off. Like, she's going to be like, where'd you get these shoes for? You need to take them back. But, you know, they got them for me, and I just remember holding them shoes, and I was like, all right, I got to do something with these. And then, I mean, from there, like, that changed everything for me. I still remember the first time my dad taking me to, like, Pee Wee basketball. I maybe went for maybe 2-3 days, and then that for me was just one of those moments where I look back, I'm like, that was the moment, like, my dad honestly just throwing me into the fire and letting me know, like, this is basketball. Like, if you want to play, you can play. If not. Ultimately, I was too young, so I think I kind of was just like, nah, I want to go home. I want to go do whatever. Yeah. But, you know, those are two moments where, like, basketball kind of, like, took off for me. And then from there, high school was a whole ordeal. Honestly, was supposed to play varsity in my middle school years. Like, when I was 8th grade, I was supposed to play varsity, but in Texas, they wouldn't allow it. My freshman year of high school, I went to a private school, St. Andrews. I played with some really great players over there. KJ Adams, right now, he's at Kansas. Okay. He won the tournament, March Madness, what was it, 2 years ago, I think it was. Who else did we have on that squad? We had a couple people, bro.
So a lot of heavy talent.
Yeah, a lot of heavy talent. And then from there, honestly, it wasn't a good place for me. As far as like basketball wise, I just wasn't really enjoying it. It was a lot of commute for my family, and a lot of external things played a role into my decision with leaving it and going back to where I was originally. So I went back to Leander High School, a public school there, and I ran everything, bro. Like,
yeah, so that's where I got like the spotlight to be.
Yeah, that's where I really got the spotlight, and I just, you know, I think I was the 3rd leading scorer of all time. Freshman newcomer of the year, district MVP, newcomer MVP,
and this was all in your high school?
Accolades, bro. Like everything you could think of. Like I did it all there.
And that was all in your high school?
Yeah, just within those 3 years there.
Okay.
So like one of the things that I noticed also is like, I'm gonna tell the viewers really quick, but every time I go to Dodge and I'm working out and it's like it'll be after 4 p.m. after basketball practice, Noah's still in the gym getting his shots up. So my question for you, Noah, is like, obviously, you know, you mentioned you know family has a really big role in your upbringing, and specifically also with like basketball too. So kind of like what's like the biggest motivator when you're really tired after practice and you know getting those extra shots up, it's kind of like really improving yourself, improving in your game.
For me, like you said, it's my family, my heritage, the things that I was raised on, the principles that were instilled into me from, you know, my dad, from my grandfather, from, you know, stories that I've been told from my grandmother and my mom.
And where's your family from?
From Mexico.
From Mexico. So
yeah, Mexico and Texas, they're all on the border, like the Rio Grande Valley area. Specifically Laredo and Harlingen and Brownsville, all those areas down there. Okay. And, you know, the only reason why I keep going and my greatest motivation right now has just been like my family, my heritage, you know, being Hispanic, being Mexican more specifically. Not a lot of, you know, Mexicans are in this position. That's true. And that was something that was brought and put in perspective for me through conversations with my late grandfather who passed away a couple years ago. And that man would, you know, tell me stories about how he'd be in California. He was a picker, and he used to spend his whole day, sunrise to sunset, out there picking, you know, with him and his siblings and things of that sort. Wow. So, like, that for me, in the back of my mind, I'm like, what would he be doing? Or, like, what would he tell me? And his greatest phrase, and I've said this in other, like, podcasts and things, was, I have it on all of my shoes, is dale gas. It's like a phrase.
Dale gas.
Dale gas. It's
dale
like,
gas.
yeah,
Okay.
give it gas.
Yeah,
like, give it gas, bro. Just keep that, like, just keep it going, keep going, keep going. Because what I look like stopping now when, you know, tomorrow or, you know, 10 years from now, like, you wouldn't. So in my position, I'm the first one in my family to be at an Ivy League institution. I'm the first one to be in a position where I'm playing Division I basketball. I made it outside of my city, within my family. Obviously, we've had relatives that have gone to college and have done great things, but to be in this position right here, nobody's done it within my family. So I don't know when the next time might be. It might be another 10 years for a cousin of mine or a great-great-grandchild of mine to be in this position. So, like, why wouldn't I take advantage, or why would I stop now? Like, I got little cousins that for me, bro, I didn't know what Ivy Leagues were.
Word.
I was never raised on it. I was
yeah.
never taught those things growing up. So whenever the opportunity came to the table, I'm like, okay, I got the grades for it. I passed all the tests that I needed to. I have the the scores to uphold to what the standard is for Ivy League education.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, bet. Like, let me just try. Let me go into it with the mindset of like being able to like I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a purpose. Everything is aligning for what God has in store for me. So it all reverts back to like I have a younger cousin who, through me, she's like, okay, now I want to go to Harvard. Like I want to see what that's about. When I was growing up, I had no clue what Ivy Leagues were. I didn't know what college I was going to. And now that I'm in this position, like I'm setting up not only myself but my family for success.
You're essentially like pioneering
Exactly.
everything for what's to come later down the line for your future family.
Yeah, for sure. And again too, like the reason, and then on the sports side,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep pursuing basketball for as long as I can. I'm a very realistic person, so I understand that ball is gonna stop bouncing. So it might be tomorrow that I can't play no more. It might be at the end of the year, the end of the season. This might be my last year ever playing basketball. I'm gonna give it everything I got until it's done. So that's why I'm in the gym every single day after practice, and I set up my schedule so I could get into the gym more.
There you go.
So it's all there. It's all there.
So how do you you obviously mentioned, you have like a very big presence with, carrying that Hispanic heritage, carrying that family presence of being the first one in your family to be in an Ivy League.
Right.
How do you kind of manage that weight while you're here, like on a daily basis?
Is there pressure? Do you feel that pressure?
Nah.
No?
Like even going to class or like when you go to the gym, how do you manage those those thoughts that, when you're actually going through it?
So in that sense, there's been moments where I've felt a lot of pressure, whether it be academically or on the court. Ultimately, I've worked up this mindset of my family is always going to be my family at the end of the day. They're always going to love me. They're always going to support me. At times, they're always going to, tell me what I want to hear, not necessarily what I need to hear. And that's their job. So knowing that, I developed this mindset of like, whether I succeed, whether I don't, whether I live up to whatever expectations I have for myself that they don't know about, they're always going to be there. They're always going to be supportive. So why am I going to sit there and put all this pressure on myself when at the end of the day, I know that they're going to love me regardless. They're going to be there for me regardless. And at the same time, I got to be that same way for myself. I can't sit there and have all these expectations, but not be realistic enough to tone it down at times or just be kind to myself, because it's hard and obviously as men, like we're kind of taught like this machismo mindset of like, no, you either gonna make it or you don't, or you fail or it's over. You can't live like that, bro. No. You honestly can't, because at the same time you're having those thoughts, you're only hurting your internal mindset and your internal motivations, because at any given time, it can all be taken away from you, and then what are you left with? You're not there with no peace. You're not there with no sanity. Like, I'd rather keep my peace and my sanity. You know what I mean?
I'm a big believer. Like, you gotta enjoy the now.
Yeah.
Too often we as people get wrapped in this. What's happened before, what we've gone through in the past, and they get kind of blocked from progressing because they're so hell bent on what's pulling them from the past.
Yeah.
Or they get so caught up in what's to come or what needs to come so that you can be what you want to be. Mm-hmm. And some people just forget, like, yo, the only thing you can control is right now in this moment.
Yeah.
So you got to enjoy it.
Yeah,
you got to take advantage.
It's funny you say that. Have you read a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle?
I've heard of it. I didn't get to read it.
It's an amazing book, bro. Like, it's honestly changed my life. Like, I recently went through
Say it again for the people, so they can, if they want to.
Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. That book will change your life. It will change your life. It will change the way that you view the concept of time, the way that you view your emotions, your thought process, and everything in between. Like, it's easy for me just to sit here. You just have to honestly pick up the book and read it. With that, like, again, back to what I was saying, like, I've gone through a lot of changes recently, in my life that caused for me to, like, honestly sit back, reevaluate my whole life, make a lot of adjustments within myself and my decisions. And there was a moment where a friend like a great friend of mine now had just came out of nowhere. Like I honestly believe like everything happens for a reason. He came at a perfect time and was like, hey, I see all the things that you're going through and I have a book for you. And it was The Power of Now. And I literally just sat there and read it. And I haven't completed the whole entire book. I'm almost done, but that book has changed my whole perspective of just being present, bro. Just living in the now, you know, being kind to yourself, realizing the way that I was thinking, realizing the thoughts that the thoughts that I was having, you know, weren't based upon the now. They're based upon generational traumas from my dad to my dad's dad, or, you know, things that I was told when I was younger that I think back now of like, damn, that really did affect me, or, you know, things that I'm worried about in the future that have nothing to do with now. You know what I mean? Or damn, I was with this person and they did this to me, but it's affecting me now in this situation.
I think we could
A lot of that, bro. A lot of things carry over, bro. It's a lot of things that carry over, but it takes a very strong mindset and a great depth within like awareness. To like realize and just break it, bro. Like it's all a choice. Like literally one of the things he says is like, you wake up and it's a choice. You either are about it and you can choose to let those things be in the past, or you can choose to let those things linger and you can suppress them, or you can try and mask them through, you know, different vices, or, you know, whether it be a new girl, whether it be drugs or alcohol, or going to buy new clothes, or, you know, things like that. Which is my shit, like buying stuff, or like going and creating. But like, you know, it honestly just takes you just to sit down and just reevaluate yourself.
So one of the main things that I thought of, especially, you know, when I was like thinking about creating this podcast, was like, obviously there's like an idea that kind of goes around, especially when you're young. It's like, I call it a transformational mindset. It's like once you go through that tough moment where it's like everything is going right completely against you, and you got to really just think back, like, what's the end goal? But not just what the end goal is, but rather what exactly is pushing you to get to that end goal. In your case, is family. And I could somewhat relate to that as well. Like, I remember when my grandma passed, it's like, she gave me a lot of those teachings that I'm always like, this is something that I always have to continue to remember. It's like, I made these promises, even though she's not here anymore. I know she's still here inside. She's still up there. She's watching me. And I know that I got to perform for her.
And that's the beauty of it.
Exactly. And it's like when you're performing for not just for your loved ones, but also even for your family back home, like mom and dad, right? And, you know, in your case, also your brother too. It's like, those are the people that will always, no matter what, like you said, they're always going to have your back. They're always going to tell you how it is, even when you don't want to hear it. You could wake up in the morning and be like, no, I'm not trying to listen to you today. Because we've all had those moments where we like, you know, we're like upset. We don't want to listen. But that's the hard truth and hard reality that we have to hear sometimes. And it's through that we're like, something just clicks.
And it's funny you say that too. It's like, this is one thing that that I heard. It's a quote. It's basically, you know, the words that you choose to like speak out into existence really change the perspective of how you think of things.
Absolutely.
Like,
that's one mode.
the simple thing of just like,
what? 4 agreements?
I forgot where it was from, but I remember it goes like, basically, let's say you have a job, right? You can either say, I have to go to work, or I get to go to work.
Amen.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Or it's like, oh, I have to go to the gym, or I get to go to the gym. You know? I have to educate myself, or I get to educate myself. You see the difference? Right? Just changing that one word changes your whole mindset on how you perceive it. Right? By saying that you get to, you get the ability to educate yourself, better yourself physically, financially, emotionally, whatever the case might be. And to your points, right? It's all about how you look at things and choose to you know, how you want it to push you forward, to make you a better person. Right. So at the end of the day, if you have it inside you, you got it. You just got to bring it out, and you got to tell yourself that you got it.
Yeah. So. And it takes a village too. It's one thing that I've realized. Can't do it by yourself.
That's a fact.
Like, you got to be able to have the right people around you, and it's difficult and it's hard because, you know, you have a lot of people that will mask their own projections and their own insecurities or things of that sort onto you, but cover it up with like, oh, I'm your buddy, or I love you, or things like that. You know what I mean? You really got to find your people and pour into who wants to be able to pour into you. Like, give love to those who want to be able to love you or be real with you. I got friends that I love them to death. They might irritate me. They might get me frustrated as hell. We might be two different personalities, but I know that they're real. And I know what every time I have a conversation with them, I'm going to get the most thorough conversation that I could ever have. And that's for him.
That's a fact. I look at Jesse every day, you know? He pisses me off every day. But hey, man, there's something about it that just clicks.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
You know? But it be like that. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, like, also, I think, like, one thing, too, is also kindness, too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know for a fact, like, for instance, every time at least I go to the gym and I'm about to go work out and I see, like, you're there, you always say hello to people. You always, like, you know, acknowledge people that are passing by, even if you don't know them.
Yeah.
It's just, like, bring a little bit of positivity to start your day or just, like, can uplift someone else's day.
What I be saying, bro?
And that's all it is. Because
What I be
at the
saying?
end of the day, it's all it is about inspiring other people to just be better versions of themselves.
Exactly.
Because, like you said, it's those extra hours where you're in the gym putting those shots up. You're in the library, you know, putting in those extra hours, losing sleep to study for that exam.
Yeah.
And it's due to moments like that where you get to expand not just your mindset, but also really push forward and inspire other people to just be a positive-minded person and also be a better version every day.
Yeah.
I have this motto where I go by, and it's always being, as long as you improved at least 1% from yesterday,
Yep.
then you've made progress.
Yeah.
And if you've made progress, you're going in the step in the right direction. And there will be relapses. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are times where you might not want to study. You might be too tired. You might be too sore to go get that extra shot up. But
Those days are the best days. 'Cause
Yeah.
when you're able to actually push yourself to get there, you come out of there feeling
Absolutely.
10 times better because you're like, bro, I ain't want to be here, but I got here. And you just be like, yo, I got to just like,
Yeah.
this is the thing, is like, you can never be upset when you finish the gym. Like, I've never left the gym feeling upset.
Nah, yeah.
Literally. Like, you always feel good when you get out.
Right.
So, yeah. And to mention, you know, bettering yourself, right? Another thing aside of the basketball, right? You're trying to better yourself, you know, with that. But you also have a clothing brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how is that part of your, you know, I guess, not to say your personality, but
My identity?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how does that better you?
Aside from basketball, fashion has been one of the things that growing up I took a liking to very quickly. I remember the first pair of Jordans I ever had.
Yeah.
And I remember I maybe had like 4 pairs of them for a birthday. I was like, I gotta show y'all the video. I gotta show y'all the
Which one was
video. There were Jordan 10s. There were some 10s.
Okay.
And I still want them to this day. They were like the cherry red,
Ay,
white and
yeah,
red
it's
ones.
like the white and red.
White and red ones. I had like boxes of them.
Damn.
It was like for a birthday. I was young as hell. I was maybe like 6. I remember I'm like, damn, these shit's fire. Threw them to my mom. I'm like, oh, they're hard. So I mean, from that moment, that was one of the key moments where, you know, I started to like footwear and I was into that sort of things, or into those sort of things. And then years later, high school, in Texas, I'm gonna be honest with you, fashion in Texas is terrible.
Word?
It's terrible.
Like, you're telling me that people in general just
Like,
don't
there's
dress
no-
well?
No, they don't dress
There's no
well.
drip.
There's no fashionable sense at all. It's starting to come up. I mean, you're starting to see a lot more like vintage where they've always kind of been there, but it's not your like traditional like moving here. It's the comparison. Yeah, bro. Like compared to Texas to here, there's not even a comparison. Like it's honestly pretty sad.
You see
but-
everything here.
Yeah, you see everything,
No,
and that's the thing. You're very limited.
Literally see everything.
Yeah.
Literally, like from one end of the world to the other.
Yeah, you're just super limited back home. I'm not gonna talk down on Texas. Like I could never talk down on Texas like that. But you're just super limited back home.
Yeah.
High school, this was pre-COVID. I wanted to be able to create something that could be timeless, something that could age well, not fast. You know, it's quick, and you see that a lot of like copy and paste brands where they're just pushing out gear, they're just pushing out designs, and they all look the same. They're all relatively the same meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to create something that could be, you know, stand out in its own sense, but be one of those brands where I don't really have to do a lot for my brand and my message to get my point across.
Okay.
So again, like fashion has kind of overtaken my identity in the sense that I'm a very fashionable person. I love to be able to like create. I'm just super creative. Like I like to create my own things, whether it be garments, whether it be art, whether it be writing a book, whether it be, you know, creating a painting or interior design, or, you know, I'm an architecture major, so designing a building.
Okay.
Ideally, I would love to design like fashion runways and retail spaces and that sort. So like within my brand, I wanted to create Mersyful with, you know, the same timeless sense, but, you know, it all reverts back to my family, to my heritage. Like, all right.
Tell them again the name of your brand.
Mersyful.
So you got it wrong.
The brand Mersyful.
Yeah, you got it
got
right.
the tee.
There you go.
The tee, got the sweats. Collection's out right now. A lot of great pieces on there.
We'll have the links out. By the
Yeah,
way,
we'll have
so
the
you can
links.
check it out.
Link will be in the description below. Hey, I always want to do this.
There you go. You made it, bro. You made it.
Nah.
You made it. You made it, bro.
Nah, so, you know, Mersyful was kind of, I wanted to be able to establish on the same principles that I was raised on. You know, growing up Catholic, growing up in a household where, you know, God was present. It wasn't something that was like forced and pressed onto me and my siblings or my family. I wanted to take those same principles that I was raised on, whether it be through the church, whether it be from my grandfather, my dad, my mom, my grandma. I wanted to instill all of that within my brand. So like each shirt that I've created has a story. Each piece that I have has its own story. Mersyful is a brand that's founded on the idea of it doesn't matter if you're black, you're white, you're Asian, you're Latino, you're Dominican, you're Mexican, brown, yellow, whatever, Christian, Catholic, Jewish, Islamic, we all share the same principle of, you know, having mercy on each other. Like whenever I encounter you, I'm gonna have mercy regardless. Whether it be, you know, having grace. It doesn't matter if you have Supreme on, it doesn't matter if you have Gap or shopping at H&M. I'm never gonna judge you. I'm never gonna make you feel like I'm better than you, or, you know, I'm more high valuable than you are because I got an Apple Watch or things of that sort. Like it doesn't matter what clothes you have on, it doesn't matter the person you are. All that it matters is this idea of like having mercy on each other. And that for me is kind of like what how the name was brought about, is, you know, just being merciful towards each other. And not just wanting to just push out a brand where it's easy to slap a cross on and be like, oh, it's a godly brand. Or, you know, let me put together a brand that looks like some Playboy Cardi opium design and throw it onto a t-shirt and be like, yo, this is fire. Or, you know, put together an Atlanta like jersey tee with the distressed 24 and slap it on a tee and make a sweat set that's matching. Like, nah, bro, I'm cool off that because a lot of that stuff is great and it's fire. It's not to knock those people out there, like, keep doing y'all's thing. But me personally, I value fashion in the sense that I want to be able to create my own story, my own principles, and leave something here that, you know, my kids can look to. Like, even if it reverts back to what we were talking about earlier, even if my brand doesn't succeed, bro, I've had it for 4 years since pre-COVID, and I've had about like 4 or 5 drops, and they've done great. Even if there's a time where, you know, I'm just like, you know, fashion, the brand it's hard for me. It's hard to like maintain and do whenever you're just a one-man team. Like, I'm gonna look back and be like, bet, like I did this, I did it. Even though I didn't succeed, even though I didn't win, let's double back. Maybe let's give it some time off. And I've done a lot of like, even within the 4-year span of my brand, I quit after like 2 years. And I was just like, nah, this is becoming too much. Like, I got basketball, I got to make my college decision. I got all these things around me right now. I'm gonna take a break. And then I doubled back and like left it alone. And then I came back crazy and everybody was like, wait, you was just dropping this and now you just shifting and your designs are crazy. And like, we can see that you're putting in time and energy. And again, it's doing all of those sort of things. It's like reevaluating and then going back in or like letting things die off, letting them be, and it'd be perfectly fine. Like, my brand could be done today and I could still look at it and be like, cool, I did that. You know what I mean? Like,
at the end of the day.
and nobody can take that away from me. Like, nobody.
And you know what's crazy is also, I spoke about a little bit about this in like the first episode, where it's like, it doesn't matter like how long something takes to get done. Sometimes all it takes is like that one
The
break.
one piece.
It's that's one piece that's just missing, and that little break is what kind of jump starts.
Yeah.
It's like when a car battery dies, right?
That's how a lot of brands.
Jump-started.
That's how a lot of brands have happened. Like Mike Amiri, the jeans. Whenever he dropped those jeans, I forgot what jeans it was, but all it took was that one jean, or with Virgil Abloh, it was the Pyrex tee. Mm-hmm. That took off everything for him, and then from there it was like, all right, Off-White turns into a million dollar corporation, $1 million brand, and you look at it now, it's just like, bro, all he did was create one T-shirt, had a lot of people of influence in it, and it took off. Same thing with brands like Margiela or Chrome Hearts. You look at all those brands, and all it took was one piece for them, and it took off everything.
The unfortunate part is like a lot of people they quit just when they're about to get good,
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it really just takes that one step. But with every successful man or woman, literally the difference between those people and the people that we don't know about, is that they didn't stop, right? And sure, they had their breaks, they had their little hiatuses or whatnot. Everybody has their speed bumps, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, they still try to progress to the point until they made it, that they got to that one step that went from this and then jumped all the way up here. You feel me? And there's a lot of people, and I feel like sometimes even myself, where where stuff that I've created, that I feel like I'm just like one step closer to getting to where I want to be at, but I just pull myself back right at the moment, the last second, or at the wrong hour, whatever you say. And it's that hurdle that you got to jump over. Once you jump over that hurdle and you get there, that's it. The sky's the limit. Yeah. And then after that, obviously the ball's still in your court, because it always was. But now the ball. Now you, the playmaker, you the one that got to make that shot and make sure it doesn't miss. Yeah. No pun intended, right? Yeah. but for real though, it's like that.
Catch and shoot.
Exactly. So with everything, you just gotta always keep pushing. You gotta stay consistent. Consistency builds discipline, and discipline creates habits. And you got a habit. Se fue. Se fue.
And what's also great nowadays is obviously social media. I mean, before then, think about all the brands that jump-started their careers, right? When social media didn't exist, it was all by word of mouth. Yeah. It was about like literally handing out flyers.
Actually being in the streets.
Taking out your samples with the CD.
Exactly. Nowadays, we have Instagram, we have TikTok, we have all these social media websites that we take for granted a lot of the times, right? But it's through those websites where we're able to market your brands. And at the end of the day, all it is just marketing your story, your brand. And if you could do that, and you could talk about, and you're willing to put in the work and add the effort, then you could take off. All it takes is just that one little decision where, like, especially when we started this podcast, like this was just like a little text box where we were like, all right, let's do this. Yeah. But once we started it, the idea turned into a reality. Yeah. It's like what like you have your brand. Like, I'm sure everything started out as a thought. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this. This is cool. But once you actually started it, that right there, that's like what jumpstarts the success story. Yeah. That's what jumpstarts the origin of where you come from, and then eventually kind of putting in all that effort and pain and the tears and sacrifice, and then boom, now
now we're here.
Exactly.
And you mentioned too how you got. You saw the Lebrons and you went crazy. You were never able to have the KDs when you were a kid. Now that you're able to, you're in a position that you can have those things, right? And even when you were a kid, like, who did you look up to when it comes to like in that sporting world specifically? And who do you look up to now, if there's anyone? Or
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan?
MJ.
Yeah.
So you prefer him over LeBron?
For sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
6 rings, man. You can't beat that.
I mean, I'm not gonna talk about anything like basketball statistics, because to be honest with you, LeBron got him on that sense. But if we're talking about movement, and we're talking about
brand wise,
and we're talking about just, I don't know, bro. Like, I just remember, my dad throwing on like the hardwood classics. Yeah. I used to just sit there in front of the TV and just watch those all day.
Word.
MJ. I used to be like, bro, like, this is nuts. Yeah. Like, this is nuts. Like, just seeing him doing all like, I would literally look up like Michael Jordan dunk compilations, and I just watch him just dunk on people, or do some crazy dunks.
UNC highlights.
Yeah, watching, or I literally just I literally would scroll and just look at all the Jordans and be like, oh, this is crazy. oh, those are what 10s look like. Like I would literally study Jordan on the sense of like, you know, his game and then his lifestyle. And then, you know, as that transition, I started to actually play. It was Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant for me.
So you emulate Kevin Durant's game?
For sure.
To yours?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think
You consider more like a stretch four.
Yeah, stretch four, for sure. And then, you know, he played at UT Austin. He played with Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
Texas
University of Texas.
Okay,
yeah, so, you know, growing up, remember my dad had a couple jerseys of like Kevin Durant.
Oh, word.
It says Texas.
Yeah, the Texas ones, and always watching the games during the season. We used to go when I was younger and things like that. So, yeah, Kevin Durant for me was that guy.
Okay, and also, again, you like basketball, but you're also Mexican, right? Normally, most Mexicans tend to gravitate to soccer.
Yeah.
What is your family not into soccer, or were you just never a fan?
No.
How that goes? Like,
Yeah, they definitely are. But again, like my like intermediate family was in Austin.
Yeah.
Like everybody was in Austin. Down south, heavy soccer. All my cousins, all my primas, all of them, they all play soccer and shit like that. You know, in Austin, like soccer wasn't really one of those things where it was prevalent. It was either football or basketball.
That's a fact.
Especially in Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
It's football or basketball.
Everything bigger in Texas.
Yeah, like bruh, like football is a religion there. I played football for a little bit, like throughout middle school, and I was like, nah, bro, this ain't for me. Like,
Yeah.
it's not for me. And then basketball is one of those things I was.
Do you even watch
Pick
it?
it up.
Do you watch it?
Yeah, I watched football. I watched the game yesterday. UT smacked Michigan, bro.
But
Yeah, I still watch it.
But even with soccer, do you watch that too, or no?
Nah, not really.
College football.
Yeah, it's a lot of college football, NBA. I watch track.
Who's your favorite team
And what?
in the NBA?
San Antonio.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a team guy. I'm wherever KD's at.
Oh, that's what you want to know.
Yeah, I'm a player guy.
Wherever he
Yeah,
go, you go.
yeah.
Okay.
So he's a.
But Spurs growing up, yeah. Every Texas team has a special place in my heart. Like
Yeah.
Dallas, I love Dallas.
A
Like
lot.
that recently has been my squad.
Wait, so
But
you prefer Luka's team over Victor Wembanyama's team?
for sure.
I mean, they
But
went to
the
the
only-
finals.
Yeah, I mean
I know, bro.
have Chris Paul though. Chris Paul, Victor Wemby, come on.
Bro, CP0 rings,
Yeah.
right?
And then, you know, Houston for me was one of those spots growing up that I learned what like actual work ethic was in basketball, what it was like if I want to be a pro, this is what the lifestyle would be. I joined an AAU team, JL3, John Lucas.
Yeah.
John Lucas Enterprise like changed my life, bro. Like they, you know, put me into, they honestly threw me into the fire, like as far as, you know, working out with the Rockets or, you know, being able to be in the right places at the right time and on the right courts and, you know, all the early morning practices at like legendary courts that I would be at, you know, spending weeks at a time there, just training and working out and just going through the mud. Like it was like my freshman through junior year of high school, I would literally spend all my time in Houston. And then as well as San Antonio. In San Antonio, the Hispanic, it's nothing but Hispanics, bro. Like nothing but Hispanics.
Really?
Like my trainer, shout out Easy Garcia, Heart Over Height. I love you, dog. That's my man's. I used to play, so before I went to like the Nike circuit, I used to honestly play in a squad that like you would never think that we could all hoop the way that we did because it was nothing but just a bunch of Hispanic kids, bro.
Word.
Like nothing but Hispanic kids. Like I was like the tallest one, but we could all go. And the trainer, Easy Garcia, like he instilled into me like a lot of guard skills. He played overseas. He went to college up here in the East Coast.
Yeah.
And like he instilled a lot of like the Hispanic grit into me. I remember working out with him. He was actually like my first trainer before I went to Houston.
Okay.
Like I would work out with him damn near every single day. Like my mom would
Wake up
literally
at like 4 a.m., like 5 a.m.
in the summer times, yeah, but during the school year, my mom would pick me up from the private school and we would drive from Austin to San Antonio, which was like 2 hours away. My mom would drive me every single day there and back after school. I would train for like 2-3 hours or, you know, weekends to drop me off and I would come back. But, you know, working with him, he instilled a lot of great things within me that, you know, have still carried over to now. And I still talk to him to this day. Like, I've seen him grow from crazy dude to like a father to a man who's about his business and gets things done and has changed, you know, his whole branding and his whole like enterprise and made his own wave and his own length within the whole basketball realm. So, you know, to answer the question, like each team within Texas holds something to me. So I can't specifically
You got
say
a little
like
bit of
what team.
everything and everything.
Yeah, bro.
That's amazing. No, that's great. Texas is your home.
Yeah,
Texas is your home at the
nah,
end
for
of the
sure.
day. Nah, that's amazing though.
But go-to team, the Suns right now.
If you okay,
wherever
fair
KD's
enough,
at,
fair
wherever
enough,
KD's
okay.
at.
All right, well, okay. I think that's all the time we have though, no?
No.
We still got some time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Little bit.
Okay, good. But overall though, where could we find you? Where you play your games? Anything you want to tell the people? Like where they can see your games and everything like that?
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, with basketball, our season's coming up right now. So a lot of our games are starting around the November time. I believe our first game is early November 9th,
Yeah,
5th,
like-
9th or something
That's the
around that
first
time.
game?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
around that time.
2 months from now.
Yeah.
Damn, that's deep.
Yeah, so we got a little bit of time.
Okay.
So the season's starting up, and then for my brand, we'll put that in the description as well. You can also find it on Instagram at Mersyful.
We'll tag the Columbia men's basketball Instagram and website down right in the description.
Tell them, bro. Tell them. Where they can find it?
In that joint below.
Right there. Okay.
Yeah, man.
And then games are on what, ESPN Plus?
Yeah, on ESPN
Even
Plus.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So if interested, obviously, if you want to watch Noah on the court and ball out from his senior year, go on ESPN Plus, get yourself a subscription today, and you'll be able to watch Noah on the court this season.
Sure.
There you go.
All right.
All right, man.
Appreciate y'all having me, of
I
course.
think that's all the time we have today, so.
No, it was fun. It was definitely a good time. Yes. No, it was great. Thank you for coming. Obviously, there's always more things we can say, but we'll leave it for another one, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
we'll leave it for part two.
Yes. But at the end of the day, just, any last word I guess you could say to the people? Any motivational thing you want to tell them, I guess?
My biggest thing for right now is just be present, be who you are, be who you want to be, surround yourself with the people that you feel comfortable with and that are going to surround you with the love that you deserve and that you want. Never let nobody hold you back. Create your own wave, create your own creation, and don't let nobody get in between that, because the moment that you allow for somebody to get in between who you are and what you want to be about, it's the day that you lose yourself. But it's all things that can be regained. So don't think that just because you're at the bottom or you lost yourself in a situation or things of that sort that you can't recover from it, because at the end of the day, this too shall pass, and through that all things great will prevail. All things will prevail, and everything that's real will prevail, and everything that is wrong will come to the light. So just be who you are, be who you want to be, and live with that. Take that with you.
That's a fact.
There we go. So, well, if anything, I think that's all the time we have. But Noah, I'm gonna shout out your Instagram for any if people want to contact you.
Yeah, man. Instagram, you can add me, Noah Robledo _NOAH_ROBLEDO_.
Link will be in the description down below. Make sure to check out Noah's Instagram.
So here I know. Your boy Rafa.
Boy Jesse.
And again here.
Your boy Noah.
All right.
Appreciate y'all having me.
To always defy all the odds.
Yes,
Thanks for
sir.
listening.
Deuces.